Screen Slurps.
Hello and welcome to Screen Slurps, the movie review podcast where we discuss everything that is good, bad, and savage in the world of cinema. I'm Adam Meisner.
And I'm Dash Gearhart. And I'm Train Zombie. Ooh, Adam, give me a nice hug. And I'll give you a nice zombie bite. Is that okay with you if I, as a train zombie, just take a big old bite out of you and make you a zombie too? Oh,
Sorry, I
already
really
did.
wanted to bite
whoops.
you. I really wanted to just jump through the microphone and just bite you right there. Those zombies, they had a
I'll bite
real
you,
sound
you
to
bite
them.
me. Yeah. The thing is, I was, wondering, I was watching Azanka and I was like, when zombies, and this is kind of like maybe not every zombie, but like when zombies like bite into each other and then one becomes a zombie, it's like, why don't they just keep eating? Why don't they finish their food? They just take one bite. And then it's like, okay, then they're done. It's like these zombies. And oh, by the way, folks, yes, we're recording our review for Train to Busan, the South Korean movie from 2016. That's right. And it has zombies in it.
Train to Busan. Train to Busan.
Crazy.
Also, what makes the zombie virus different than COVID-19? Why are we not like zombies? How's that for a quiz question?
Aren't we already? I mean, we're just kind of like depressy, and just kind of like drained of energy. And, other than eating each other, what's the difference?
Yeah, there's something to think about.
We
and
don't
also,
have much color in our skin, from not being out in the sun much.
And also
paler than usual.
One person gets it, and then someone else gets it, and then someone else gets it. It's a chain. So is COVID-19 not the zombie infection?
These zombies, though, seemed pretty energetic. I will say that.
That's
These
true.
zombies knew how to run fast.
Yeah, and COVID-19 does not make you an
sprinters.
athlete.
No, it does not make you ready for a 100-meter dash. Not at all. But yes, folks, we are reviewing Train to Busan today, a thrilling action horror movie from South Korea in 2016, like I mentioned earlier. But before we get into that, I'm going to ask Adam, like I do every week, what have you been side slurping this week, my friend? And by that, I mean, what have you been watching, playing, reading, or maybe making this past week besides watching Train to Busan?
Well, what I've been slurping has been a video game of sorts, and I'm talking about the game Divinity Original Sin 2. It is an older game, not super old, a little bit more recent, but not like yesterday's recent. It's a few years old, but it's great. It is a turn-based RPG. It's a little bit like Diablo 2 for the nerd people out there who's played Diablo 2 or Diablo 1 or Diablo 3, any of the Diablo games for the Diablo players out there. But when you get into a battle, it becomes a turn-based battle. So I'd say go check it out. Go check out Divinity Original Sin 2. It is a fantastic RPG game, and it is a long game, by the way. I'm about 16 hours deep right now into a co-op game, and I'm still in Act 1. I think there's 4 acts. It goes on for quite a while. There's just a lot of side quests, and it just keeps going and going.
Is that on console or PC?
It's on both. So you can play it on
Nice.
PC. I believe you can play it on Mac. You can play it on PS4. You can play it on Xbox. So it's...
But not Switch?
I think it might also be on Switch, but do not quote me on that.
Okay.
It is, it's on pretty much everything else, but it's just a very long game. There's just so many different class combinations. You can make a character. There's a lot of different types of characters you can play, and depending on the type of character that you are playing, it totally changes the type of text you get with the NPCs you talk to. So if you're playing as a dwarf or if you're playing as an elf, it'll change the type of text you have with the different NPCs you talk to. Or if you're playing as an undead character, that'll unlock different options. So all of the type of text that you get with the characters you talk to or the allies you have in the game, it all changes depending on the type of character that you're playing as. So you play it one way, you can play it completely differently the next, and you could save somebody or decide to, murder them in the next game you play. It all changes everything. So hours upon hours of gameplay that could be very different depending on how you decide to play the game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a long game. But other than that, I have also been working on a presentation of the podcast industry to present to the Great Lakes Association of Sound Studies next month. That's a little bit more serious than playing video games, but I actually did a lot of research on the podcast industry for my graduate school thesis back in 2017, and now it's come full circle as I've been invited to present more research to a group of people in sound studies for next month. And I will be presenting more contemporary research on the podcast industry that will correlate with what I've already researched back in 2017. So it's sort of
man.
About 5 years later after what I've looked into in 2016 and 2017. How has the podcast industry changed now? What are people doing now with podcasting versus what did they do back then? And let me tell you, it's changed a lot.
I figured, yeah.
I'm very excited to be looking into that. I'm very excited to talk about that next month, and we will see how that will all go. And I've also been playing a lot of music, and I've been really into CeeLo Green lately. So I've been learning to play a lot of CeeLo Green music, and I'm looking into recording some CeeLo Green covers and sharing them with all of you.
Wait, CeeLo Green, is he the one when you're driving around town with the girl I love and I'm like, get you? That one?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that song was written by Bruno Mars, and then he ended up recording it and singing it.
Yeah,
so
and he was also half of Gnarls Barkley.
Okay, yeah. Wait. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
That's where it all started. It was Gnarls Barkley was CeeLo Green's first big blossoming period, and then CeeLo Green went solo.
Interesting. Cool. Awesome, man. Anything else you've been slurping?
That's really the big stuff. That's really been my past week this time. What about you? What have you been up to?
Well, my friend, I'm about 5 years late to the party, but I recently picked up myself finally a PlayStation 4.
You were telling me about that, and what games do you have now?
So the games I have right now are Final Fantasy 15, Spider-Man, Yakuza 0, and I just downloaded Castlevania Requiem, Rondo of Blood, and Symphony of the Night. Those are 2 games that it comes with, and that is some classic side-scrolling action. I'm a big fan of the Castlevania franchise, but the game I was looking forward to the most, that I've been looking forward to for years because I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, is Final Fantasy 15. I've been playing that a good amount, and it is so much fun. Please don't spoil it if you and folks, listeners, please don't spoil it for me either, because we encourage engagement on social media and and throughout whatever email, however you want to contact us, respectfully of course. But please don't spoil the end of Final Fantasy 15 for me, because I've been looking forward for it for like 10 years, and I'm so glad I have it in front of me on my TV. I get to go on a broad trip. It's broy. It's a road trip with your bros. It's a bro trip. Oh, it is so much fun. I get it. That's not for everybody. It's totally okay. Not, of course, especially the main character is a whitish, Asian looking ish. I don't know if I am Asian, but I know I look it at least half. I know I've been told by many people before, and that's okay. I accept that. I don't know if I am Asian descent or not, but with that, the main character, I can relate to him. He's got messy hair. He's I can relate to him. Anyway, so I'm saying is like, I get that Final Fantasy 15 is not for everybody, but I enjoy good bro, healthy masculine bro friendships, and road trips are awesome. I mean, safely, of course, like safe road trips are awesome. As long as you're traveling around town or traveling around the country or traveling around your kingdom, whatever, with your swords and your magic and, pretty much reenacting Hamlet, but in the Final Fantasy universe.
Exactly.
It is awesome. It is. I'm having a great time with it. Okay. And then with that, Spider-Man, wow, it is living up to my expectations.
That game's addicting.
It is so much fun to play, so much fun to go on missions, but also just fun to just swing around New York City. And then I've been going on top of the World Trade Center, or like the Empire State Building, and just jumping off, and then skydiving, and then web slinging at the last second on one of the buildings. It is so much fun. Also, I started Yakuza 0, which is so cool. It's basically kind of like Grand Theft Auto, but like in Japan in the 1980s. You get to adventure around Tokyo and Osaka. I don't know too much about it, but my friend had me play it a few years ago, and I remember thinking, when I get a PlayStation 4, I definitely want to get Yakuza 0. I played it a little bit, and I had a few in the game. I had a few street fights, and then I met up with a buddy in the game who we went drinking, and then we did karaoke, and he got to play this karaoke rhythm game and sing. And then you went and get ramen at crack of dawn. So you're out all night partying. And it's really cool. It's a fun game. And Castlevania, of course, just classic spooky ooky. Simon Belmont, well, not Simon Belmont, it's Richter Belmont in this. Richter Belmont and Alucard fighting Dracula. So much fun. So, video games are awesome. I'm so happy I got a PlayStation 4. I know PlayStation 5 is out right now, but man, I completely skipped this generation, and I'm so glad that better late than never.
I mean,
and
I think you made a
so
good
much fun
choice
with it.
because getting a PS5 is practically impossible. So just wait.
I can wait. Yeah, I can wait. And the PS4 feels like it's brand new, and it's, for me, I bought it used, and it works great. Knock on wood, and I got it at a really good cheap price, and yeah, I'm having a great time with it. So with that, off the side of video games, I've been keeping up with Servant. Servant is very good. It's on Apple TV Plus. New episodes every Friday, at least the time of this recording. It's a very spooky, ooky, again, kind of creepy show, but it's really good. It's almost it's kind of theatrical in a way, especially with how small the cast is. As I said before, it stars Ron Weasley. Rupert Grint is in it. He's one of the four main actors, one of the four main characters in it. It's very good. Go see it if you haven't watched it. You can catch up and probably still be watching new episodes that are airing at the time of this recording. And then two more things. I've been also keeping up with Critical Role. That is on every Thursday on their Twitch channel, and that is fantastic. I'm so glad that they came back, especially after COVID, and was able to reorganize and keep the show going safely, and it is awesome. Man, dude, that beginning of that show, the animated sequence is so, I get so excited whenever I see it. It is awesome, and it's exciting. It's starring like all the characters that they made in role play, and it is just it's just a blast. It's so exciting. And then last thing on my plate is I've been watched all of WandaVision on Disney Plus.
Oh, nice.
Yep, every single episode. That show. Okay, so here's what I will say about that. My quick review of that is that I am so happy that Disney had Marvel make something different other than the same old formula for a lot of the movies. And don't get me wrong, I've been a Marvel fan my entire life. Mostly it was X-Men and Spider-Man growing up. I still like the other heroes for sure, but it was mostly those two series. And with the movies, I've enjoyed tremendously, but I know everybody loves it, and this is kind of like a not popular opinion, but I think they peaked out at Civil War, Marvel Civil War. I love Civil War. I thought it was the best Marvel film so far. And after that, I wasn't really much interested in Thanos. I wasn't much interested in the whole, kill everybody, half everybody's gone, then we find a wacky way to go back in time from making ourselves small. Sorry, spoilers, but they go back in time and they save everybody. And it's just like, I don't know. It's almost kind of like, okay, well, how can you believe anybody if anybody dies if you just think, okay, well, they'll just be back, we'll find some wacky way to bring him back to life. And so it kind of took away the stakes for me. Even though I still loved everything, it was just kind of like, okay, all right, cool. I love Civil War because it was like nobody's truly the good guy or nobody's truly the bad guy. Everybody's flawed, but nobody's truly evil. That makes it very interesting. It's almost like Game of Thrones. Anyway, WandaVision's very different. It's a very different formula. I applaud them for that. And especially the first 3 or 4 episodes, you don't even know what is happening. You go through all these different sitcoms, I'll say. I don't want to spoil it. I do encourage people to go watch it, and it's just try to, if you're not really if you're kind of confused like I was and being like, I don't know what's happening or why is this happening? Why am I seeing Bewitched parody in black and white sitcom? Why am I seeing this Brady Bunch sitcom? Why am I seeing this Full House / Modern Family type sitcom. Like, I don't get it. Is this a Saturday Night Live sketch or something? And y'all, they have just a Marvel heroes
I mean, it
playing
sounds
all
like a
these
joy
roles?
to me.
Yeah, it's like, it was fun. It was totally fun. It was just confusing. I'm like, but why? It's done really well. I'm feeling good. This is fun, happy time, but I'm really confused. It does make sense. You do find out. Just have faith in it. It does get explained. And it for the most part, there's a couple plot holes, which I'll talk about later, that I definitely caught. But for the most part, it's really good. I really recommend it. It definitely makes you have the feels. And I hope there's more unique Marvel stories that get told moving forward. So, yeah, that WandaVision is on Disney Plus, and I recommend it. So,
nice.
That is my side slurps for the week, besides Train to Busan, which,
Heyo.
Are you ready, Adam, to get on board? Choo,
I'm
choo,
ready.
choo for the
All
zombie
aboard.
train.
I'm ready to slurp on that train.
Train to Busan is a 2016 South Korean action horror film directed by, and again, folks, these are South Korean names, and we are Midwestern American, so if we mispronounce these things, we apologize. If
Oh
you'd like to
my.
correct us, we are always willing to correct ourselves and better ourselves, but please know this will probably be flawed by mistake, so here we
We'll
go.
do our best.
So yes, it's a South Korean action horror film that was in 2016. It was directed by Yeon Sang-ho and starring Gong Yoo, Jung Yi Mi, and Ma Dong Seok. The film mostly takes place on a train to Busan as a zombie apocalypse suddenly breaks out in the country and threatens the safety of the passengers. No! The film itself premiered in the midnight screening sections at the 2016 Cannes Film Festival on May 13th.
Oh, man, I would have loved that.
Yeah, that would have been super cool. On August 7th, the film set a record as the first Korean film of 2016 to break the audience record of over 10 million theatergoers. The film serves as a reunion for Gong Yoo and Jung Yoo Mi, who both starred in the 2011 film The Crucible. A sequel, Peninsula, was released in South Korea on July 15th, 2020. So, Adam, have you seen this film before? And if you haven't, what was it like watching it, or what was it like revisiting it?
I have not seen this movie before in my life, and watching this movie now, my first thought going into this movie, I was thinking, is this going to be like me watching Snakes on a Plane? Because when I first watched the movie Snakes on a Plane, and this is no hard feelings to the film Snakes on a Plane, by the way, I just want to put that out there first of all, but Snakes on a Plane is a total joke, and that film, and that's nothing against the people in the film Snakes on a Plane, but that movie is a complete joke. You watch that movie thinking, what in the hell am I watching? And this is just total action humor. On the flip side, though, I will say watching Train to Busan, this movie is not a total joke. I went into this movie, as I said, thinking, is this going to be like Snakes on a Plane? It was not. It was not like Snakes on a Plane. It was not a joke. And it was actually, very pleasantly, to my surprise, a very well done, thrilling horror film, and I was very, very well entertained from beginning to end. And a lot of horror thriller films, I think, especially the ones that are made in the United States, let it be known, as if it's not already, this was made in South Korea. But the ones that are made in the United States, I think a lot of horror thriller movies are just these indie under the rug movies that are just kind of like, all right, cool. It's, some thriller that's in some person's apartment and there's a zombie and the wife is injured, and it's the same thing, I think, in my mind. I always see the same kind of movie. Someone gets shot or stabbed and it's like, who really cares? I've seen so many of the same types of movies, but with this
TV
film,
shows with The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, seriously, and I think watching this movie, I really, really expected to not be surprised, to not be entertained, because I've seen so many of the same things so many times with movies like this. But with this particular film, watching it, I was really entertained because with the most normal way of saying it, the visuals and the sound that they used in this movie, the two main descriptors of what makes a movie, were just so well done. It's just the cinematography when I was watching it, just the visuals just really popped so nicely. I think the way the visuals were done, I think the contrast and the brightness and everything with the cinematography, every image that came on the screen, I think it just looked so nicely. It just was so bright and vibrant and just looked so nice that everything that showed on screen, I was like, wow, this is really grabbing my attention so nicely. And I felt so attentive to everything. And then with the sound, it all seemed so normal, but when a scene came on that really wanted to grab your attention, again, I was very surprised in a lot of scenes, because the scenes that they wanted to surprise you in, the sound seemed like someone turned up the volume 10 times over, and I just wasn't used to that with a lot of the shows I watch. And that might sound like a very normal answer for a lot of filmmaking kind of commentary, but I was very surprised with a lot of things in this movie, with the sound and with the visuals. It really surprised me. DJ, what did you think?
I was definitely on the wowie zowie, this is fantastic side of things. If I didn't mention before that the budget for this film was $8.5 million, it made $98.5 million in the box office. Buku bucks it made.
I mean, and unfortunately, it didn't make my money because I wasn't aware of this movie's existence in that time. And I don't know if this movie was in American theaters around that time in 2016, but
I don't think it was. Edgar Wright, he actually applauded it on Twitter, calling it best zombie movie I've seen in forever. So
I would have said the same thing if I watched it in 2016.
Yeah, exactly. And it got a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes out of 117 critics. And the average rating was 7.60 out of 10. Yeah, so it was highly praised. And I agree. This was fantastic. Seeing the trailer with you before we picked it, I was like, woo, this is going to be fun. Crazy zombie movie, not much emotional attachment. All right, here we go. Whoa, scary images. Ah, hey, run, get out there. Woo, oh, no, don't let my eye, body infected. I thought it was going to be, like you said, kind of like the same formula that we usually see in especially a lot of American zombie stories. And that was going to be like a fun ride, fun popcorn movie, but boy, did it. I mean, first off, right at the beginning, folks, and heads up, spoilers, we're going to spoil this. So if you don't want to be spoiled, go watch it and come back. Let the podcast play in the other room with the volume down, and that way we get the listened. And then come back and re-listen to it again. Work the system. But spoilers. So at the beginning, we really get a nice slow build with the characters, at least the main two characters, which was the dad, and he played it was Gong Yu, and he played Seok Woo. That was the daddy, and then his daughter, the actress Suan Kim, played his daughter, who was Su-an, and it was really about the relationship between this father and his daughter that was happening really, I would say either during a divorce or post-divorce, definitely at least during separation. The dad comes home. He's already this probably wealthy businessman in finance, and he, asks his assistant or coworker, what are the kids in these days? Because it's a young coworker, by the way, and because it's his daughter's birthday, and he didn't get her a gift yet, so he gets her Nintendo Wii with New Super Mario Brothers, which I would have been happy
who
to
doesn't
get
want
with.
one?
I was like, whoa, great gift. Yeah, man. I mean, granted, I've had Nintendo Wii before, but that's a great game if you don't have it already. Well, it turns out she already had it. She had the exact same one. The exact same Wii. The black Wii with the Super Mario Brothers combo pack, and it was sitting right in front of her desk.
The exact same package.
The exact same one. It's like, dude, like, don't you know? Anyway, have you not seen her play it at all in your house? Anyway, so, yeah. And
I think she she just got it as a gift too. It was like Child Appreciation Day or something like that. So like she just got that gift.
Oh yeah. Well, wasn't her birthday though too?
Yeah, it was coming up.
Yeah, it was like the next day because like during the most of the craziness, it happens like on her birthday because the next day because she really wants to go see her mom.
That's why she wanted to go to Busan was for her birthday.
Yeah,
that's
see her mother. Who lives in Busan, and I'm guessing they live because it seemed like they live in a big city. I'm guessing they were riding from Seoul. So like if you don't know, listeners, geography, Seoul's like a lot more north compared to Busan in South Korea, and you know, he's just kind of like disconnected from his daughter, and his mom, who is babysitting his daughter, is giving him crap like, oh, you know, you shouldn't have thrown your marriage away. So it's like, stay out of it, mom. You know, like,
classic mothers.
Yeah, it's like let him be divorced. He wants to be divorced. You know, it's like Anyway, so he gets some slack from his mom, or not slack. He gets some shit, whatever. I don't know. He gets some.
Well, he's also a fund manager too, so you already know he's a narcissist.
Yeah. So he starts off not being a very nice guy, you know, like he actually lets his mom say the stuff that, you know, it's none of her business to him. And he lets her say that, which is like, okay, well, he could have got really reactive and really defensive, but he kind of let her say her piece and then, you know, just kind of moved on and kind of was unfazed by it. And yeah, he's kind of just thinking about himself more and not very much invested in others. And he's like, well, I'm not going to let my daughter go to Busan by yourself on a train. She's like, no, I'll go by myself. And this girl had to be like, what, 9 years old? Teeny tiny little girl.
Yeah, she's not old.
It's like, no, you're not going to ride a train from Seoul to Busan by yourself. No way. So, you know, he's planning on a train. He gets on the train, and I really appreciate it. We didn't see any zombies during that time. Until, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, you were saying that she had to be like 9 years old in the scene that was leading up to them going to the train as she was on the cell phone talking to her mother. The cell phone was the size of her head.
He had this huge phone. Yeah. It's like basically holding an iPad to her face and talking about like, hello.
It was, I don't know if it was like an Android or like an iPhone 12 or something, but
dude, things are changing. I didn't get a phone till like, I think I graduated college before I like finally let myself get a smartphone. They had been out for a long while, but I was like, no, I'm not getting a smartphone. No, I'm going to stick with my flip. I was trying to be a hipster for a long time, and then I finally caved in and I got one. But I can't imagine being 9 years old and having a smartphone.
Just the idea that it was the size of her head, I'm thinking, how big is her head? Like, that phone is her head.
Well, that reminds me, I'm glad you brought that up, because that reminds me of an important part that happened, which was around that time her dad saw this video, this recording of her, of the daughter, Suan, singing Aloha Oi, and it's a song that she sung at school that she stopped singing, that she, got nervous or stage fright, and he was getting kind of on her case. He's like, oh, well, you should finish something that you start. You should have kept, singing, and it's worse than not even doing it all.
Narcissist.
Well, he finds out something later that's like, ooh, like, that hurts. Anyway, so he gives her shit about that. Everyone's just being shitty to each other, except for the daughter. Daughter's not being shitty. Anyway, so they get on the train next day, and I loved, okay, so here's a part that with the buildup that I love so much about this, is I really loved how very subtle the hints were. I mean, granted, this is all way after the opening scene where we see kind of like the older sage guy that experienced like running over this deer, and this deer gets up, and it's Bambi. It's a Bambi zombie.
What a great setup. I love that as the introduction.
That's
as the guy just hits the deer.
Zombambi. And it gets hit, and it's a zombie Bambi. And
Zombie Bambi.
Zombambi. And so when they're on the train, the father and daughter get on the train, Seok Woo and Suan, they see kind of like Russell maybe fighting, some kind of like, it's kind of civil unrest, and we see somebody running towards a train and them getting like hit really hard, and like very brief does the daughter see it out the window. And then, we just kind of like go back to, oh, I don't know, I guess there's nothing, whatever. And just kind of like go about, train business, and it's like, whatever. But then we see the young woman get on, and she has a bandana or some kind of cloth tied really tightly around her leg, and she looks like she is not good. She's what was she? I mean, she was like flinching on the floor. It was really scaring the attendants. They were trying to help her. They thought maybe it was a seizure. Turns out they're very wrong about that.
Yeah.
And that is what starts the chaos. Would you like to take it from there, Adam?
Yeah, what was her having a seizure was her having a seizure and turning into a zombie, and her transformation into a zombie turns into her going into a zombie and biting the attendant on the train, and then from, one zombie to two zombies, and then two zombies, turning into biting more people, and it becomes, a whole pandemic on the train. And that's when the main character introductions sort of start to take precedence as we learn who the main supporting characters are in the film, which, of course, the main characters would be the dad, the daughter, and then we learn of the supporting characters who there's a pregnant woman and her boyfriend, who the boyfriend really does not like the main character dad. Which,
no, he just calls him
I thought that
asshole.
was probably my favorite part of the movie, is that boyfriend always calling out the dad for being an asshole.
Yeah.
And just not caring about anybody. It's like, yeah, tell him how much he doesn't care about people, so maybe he can finally learn how much of a, caring narcissist that dad is, and how he just does not care about anybody but himself.
I mean, it worked. It did.
Yeah, it
worked.
It finally worked in the end of the film, where it's like, oh, okay, now you finally realize that you've only cared about yourself this entire movie.
Well, I mean, I would say it's a little earlier than that. I mean, I think it really started when him and the boyfriend of the, I'm trying to look up his name, the boyfriend of the pregnant mom, and
the kid with the baseball bat
that was in Parasite. Young Gook, Choi Woo-sik, who was in Bong Joon-ho's Parasite, that won Best Picture last year in the Oscars. So you have those three guys, and when they were they taped up their forearms to get ready to, throw down some zombies through the cars, and they did a good job. They were beating ass, and they got through few different train cars, and just beating the crap out of the zombies. I think it was them, because then he starts Seok Woo, the dad, starts to incorporate, and he's not just looking out for himself, which basically you had another character that almost kind of symbolized what he would have became, that he was on his way to become, who was this older businessman that was literally throwing people into the zombies to save himself, literally throwing alive, healthy, non-zombie people into the zombies, getting them killed, and only looking out for himself, completely only for himself. Yeah, and that I think it kind of symbolized what Seok Woo would have turned into. The dad was on his way if it not had been for these supporting characters that were guiding him, and a very very rough way. I mean, even his daughter's you only care about yourself, Dad. You're an asshole, Dad. Hey, asshole, get over. They're all just being quit being an asshole. You're only thinking about, you close the door on me, you asshole. And they're all letting him have it, and it does work. That tough love does work, because then he starts helping everybody. He starts teaming up with people, and he really, spoilers, he makes the ultimate sacrifice at the end for his daughter and for the pregnant woman, and it was beautiful. I mean, God, I was tearing up in that scene. That was I think we mentioned this before with other movies, is that you can have crazy stuff like zombies and vampires and dirty jokes or whatever. You can have all this quote unquote spectacle, whether it's horror or comedy or whatever. But what really matters is that you have to have an emotional connection. When you have that emotional connection, at least between two people, then you can pile on all the fun stuff around that. And then that it's not empty, that there's a core, real heart to everything. And that was it. It was between the father and the daughter, that journey. And it was tragic and sad and also beautiful, because he rose from that selfish place, and it was it was heroic and tragic and beautiful, you know?
I think the character you're talking about, the other character who's kind of like the business mogul, who's super selfish.
He was like the villain of the movie.
That the dad ends up running into later in the film. I think it's a really great representation, this scene, that when he finally runs into him, what he learns when the dad finally sees that business guy. It's just like the greatest realization moment when they finally collide and he's just yelling at him, just like, why did you do that? When the business guy would not let them into their car for safety. And he's finally telling him, he's like, why did you do that? It's kind of this realization for the dad, like,
he did that earlier.
Like he could have been that. Like,
he
was shutting the door on other people.
Dad and the pregnant girlfriend. He kind of he did that momentarily.
Yeah,
he realized like, oh no, I'm the same. I did the same thing. Yeah. It's Yeon Suk. Yeon Suk, played by Yui Sung Kim. Yeon Suk is the character, the bad guy character.
Yeah. And then the villain's reaction after getting just yelled at, his reaction is just like, they're infected. They're clearly infected. They need to get off the train right now.
He manipulates people. He creates like a it's almost kind of like using what's the term? Like propaganda, vocal propaganda against them. The lies.
And sadly, everyone else on that train were believing him too. They're just like, they need to get off. They all need to get off. And all that the dad can do is just stand there and just listen. Just like, really? They're all going to believe this guy?
Yeah.
But weirdly enough, they were all safer.
They got pushed to a safer car. I was like, well, that worked out, I guess, for a moment. Yeah. And I think that was really smart to show, you know, hey, you could be this guy. And yeah, he lived longer than everybody, or more than most of the people. And it's because he also, you know, assisted with killing other people too for his own survival. But he was literally the worst person on that train. And yeah, the dad, Seok-woo, he decided to take a different turn, which was amazing. And then towards the end, you have like this showdown between Seok-woo and Yeon Suk. And the dad gets bit in the end by Yeon Suk, and that's just like, no, like when that happened, I'm like, fuck, no, why? Because every one of these, like once I started caring about these characters, especially like Young Gook and his girlfriend Jing Yi, or seemed like his girlfriend, when the bad guys Young Suk pushed Jing Yi into one of the zombies, he literally shoved her into one of the zombies and she got bit. And it was just heartbreaking to see Young Gook's face just feeling destroyed, and then he holds his girlfriend as she's watching her infected and dying, and then she turns and then she kills him, and it was just like heartbreaking. And it was also heartbreaking and also like, wow, what a guy, what a hero, when the other dad, which was Sang Hua, played by Ma Dong-seok, who played the boyfriend of the pregnant woman, and he just kind of goes down like a badass. He just kind of like, you know, I'll take care of him. You take care of her. I got this. You know, I'll just fucking beat them all. And he just like goes down like a hero. You know, it's like, hey, I'm tough. Yeah, I'll take care of her. You know, I love you. And he just like pounds them until they finally
even
take
while
him
he was
down.
infected, he was holding them back.
Yeah, he was still pushing him back when he was infected. That was awesome. Yeah, I figured he'd like just turn around like, okay, now I'm with you guys. But no, he's like, I'm a zombie against the zombies. And it was awesome. So
that'd be funny if he said that too.
Yeah. I'm a zombie, but fuck
I'm still going.
Yeah, I'm the better zombie. So yeah, that was a very heroic scene. A lot of heroic scenes in this. And yeah, at the end, when we finally see the dad, Seok-woo, defeats a bad guy, Young Suk, and then he realizes he's going to turn. So he instructs the pregnant woman. I'm sorry, I keep saying pregnant woman. That's not very nice. What's her name? Jung Seong Kyeong. Not pronounce that correctly, but she's played by Jung Yoo Mi. And she is with the daughter, and he's kind of saying, don't leave her, take care of each other as a break, blah, blah, blah. He's trained. And then he just kind of like looks at her. He doesn't say goodbye. He doesn't say he loves you, but you can tell on his face that's what he's saying. And she's like, no, Daddy, don't go, don't go. And he knows he has to go. And they have this, boy, they were just so connected. And they were, both of them are so in the moment and acting so fantastically. And he leaves, and he remembers his daughter, remembers when she was born. He has these flashbacks of holding her, and as it's taking over the infection, and then he dives, literally like kind of like face forward, like dives off of the train, and then that's it for him. And he doesn't let his daughter see him turn as a zombie, and it's just like, it was heartbreaking and beautiful. And man, dude, I am so glad that they did not get hurt at the end. I was so nervous that the military was going to shoot them. I was sure of it. Yeah. But why don't you go ahead and tell the audience what saved them?
I also want to say it was very nice before he killed himself after being infected, that it was very nice that the film showed us before he dived off of the train as a infected zombie, that he was having flashbacks of his daughter being born and his memories of his daughter as an infant. And just what a wonderful, sentimental flashback scene of the dad having these caring memories and thoughts of his daughter, and just reminiscing in these emotional just memories of his child and him and his daughter together. And I think it's just this one little morsel in the film that makes you realize, wow, this character really does have emotional feelings and a connection with his daughter. Not that you ever had the feeling of doubt of that through the entire film, because you really start to put that, piece to the puzzle together very tightly.
Kind of in the beginning, though.
Yeah. So, you can see that in the beginning. You can already, set the ties throughout the film. You can see it through the film that, like, he clearly has a very tight connection to his daughter through the entire film, but you can tell that his daughter has her own doubts in the movie. Like, you only care about yourself. Why don't you care about me as much as mom does or something? But you definitely get near the end of the film, like, she can clearly tell very much that she really cares about her dad, and her dad really cares about her. And then that final moment, it's just thoughts of, wow, he really does not want to die, and he really does not want to leave his daughter, but it's got to happen. And there it goes. And it's really depressing. So yeah. Yep. Tears fall.
It was, dude, I was teary-eyed. It touched me.
But moving to the point that you were just going on to about the final moments of the film. I thought that they were going to get shot.
Yeah. Can you say what saved them?
What saved them was the wonderful song Aloha Oi?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Aloha Oi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a song that she learned for her dad. It's one of the things that she told him too. Their last moments was that she learned that song for him, and she couldn't finish it because he wasn't there to see her sing it. And
but she was singing it on, and she wasn't stopping, and she was singing it very sadly, though.
She kept going. She didn't finish, and that is what helped the military recognize them as humans and not zombies, because they were instructed to shoot and kill them in case they were zombies or infected people about to become zombies. But it saved her, and it saved the woman that was pregnant, and they survived because of that. And it was just like, wow, it comes all full circle. Amazing. This film was, wow, what a ride. The special effects, the cinematography, the soundtrack was fantastic. I really liked the music in it. It was so good. And it was, beyond what I expected after seeing the trailer. And I'm so glad that, yes, it was a zombie movie. Yes, it was on the train. And parts of it kind of made me think, not just because it was also South Korean film, but also some of it made me think of like Snowpiercer. Kind of like, okay, what do? We got to get from, we got to go left to right. We got to go forward, always forward, kind of like a video game, keep going forward. And that was it was part of like, I like to think of it as like a game, almost kind of like an improv, you know, where you kind of set up the rules to the scene, the game, and then you play the game. And that was
Well,
the
hopefully
game.
there's no zombies in this improv.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dude, that reminds me. In college, we played this game called Humans versus Zombies, and it was so much fun. We played with Nerf blasters, and basically there was people that were like zombies, and they wore like this official stamped. It was called BG Undead. I went to Bowling Green State University. BG Undead bandana, and they wore it over their heads if they were zombies. And then they had to see you outside of a classroom building and then tap both your shoulders to make you a zombie. And if you were a human, you had to shoot your Nerf blasters, your foam Nerf blasters at the zombie. If you shot them with the Nerf dart, then they are tagged for a little while, and then they can't get you, and you can run away. So you had to survive. And we played it for 2 weeks, man, until Halloween night when we had the final stand. Anyway, I can go more on that to some of our bonus episodes. By the way, we're releasing it soon, if not already. At the time of recording this, we'll be releasing a Patreon with bonus content where we talk even more. Also, there's other benefits as well. So check that out soon. But at the end of the film, I had to say I was emotionally drained in a good way, and also like just left in just a wowie zowie bafflement. I was just so baffled at the ride that I just took. It was touching. It took a lot out of me. It was exciting. It was heartbreaking. It was heartwarming. It was just a spectacular film. So, but yeah, as I mentioned before, it was rated 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, and yeah, got good reviews. Clark Cullis of Entertainment Weekly wrote that the film borrows heavily from World War Z and its depiction of the fast-moving undead masses, while also boasting an emotional core that Brad Pitt starring extravaganza often lacked. So yeah, with that, the only thing that reminded me of World War Z in this, I don't think I agree with Clark Cullis of Entertainment Weekly here. The only thing I noticed that was similar to World War Z that I thought was just the effects. Some of the effects were similar in terms of like them binding together in the masses, kind of like when they tried to stop the train by all like huddling over each other and like walking over each other, almost kind of like insects or something. And that was something similar to World War Z. But other than that, I didn't really think of it was like borrowed off or copying anything. I thought it was very unique, especially for being a zombie movie, which we said before is kind of like formulaic at times.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, at the New York Times, Jeanette Katsoulis, I like that name, selected the film as her critics pick and took notice of the subtle class warfare. In a negative review, okay, here we go. In a negative review, David Ehrlich of IndieWire comments that as the characters whittle away into archetypes and start making senseless decisions, the spectacle also sheds its unique personality. I disagree with David Ehrlich. Nope.
David, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I disagree with you. Let's go back to Edgar Wright, who says it's the best zombie movie I've ever seen in forever. That's Edgar Wright says.
Okay, Edgar.
Edgar Wright. That loudly he said it. I have some also some fun factoids from TVOvermind.com here. There is just a few of them here, and one of them is that there was a short film made as a precursor to this movie. It had to do with the events of what happened the day before the beginning of the film, as a way to explain what is really going on and how things started, which reminds me of one of the scenes where it kind of seemed like the dad's Seok Woo, like a company he worked with, was responsible. Is that right? Did I hear that correctly? Right? Because wasn't he kind of partly responsible, or his company that he worked with like was accidentally involved with the infection? What was the question? So there was so the question is, I think I misunderstood the scene, but didn't he get a phone call, the dad, Seok Woo, that something that his company has worked with, or another company that he was associated with, was responsible for the infection, for the pandemic?
I think they had ties with the chemical plant. Yeah.
And this short film seems like it probably went into what happened, what started it all. So, but yeah, also, this is the 6th highest grossing domestic film in South Korea. It's kind of obvious that South Korea hasn't got a big market for stuff like this and has been ignored for the most part. The fact to it is, the film was the first live action film for the director. Everything else he's done to this point has been animated, so it was likely a big jump for the director director, and thankfully he hit the mark. And the director was, and we said before earlier that it's the name is Sang-ho Yeon. So that is awesome. I definitely nailed it with this one. This movie became the first South Korean film to pass the $1 million mark at the Singapore box office. Also, the word zombie is only mentioned in the movie twice, and it took just under 4 months to make this film. Also, this is the first ever South Korean zombie movie. Wow, I didn't know that. Now that they've joined the genre, it seems as though we'll see more of them since a sequel to the film has been made. That is true. This quickly became the most popular film to ever come out of South Korea. It's interesting. I don't know why I thought it was Snowpiercer. Maybe it's just because I don't know, I'm biased or something. I just love Snowpiercer. I love Bong Joon-ho. or Parasite. Parasite was amazing. You know, I mean, this is also in 2016, so I'm guessing Parasite beat it because it won Best Film. But again, that's just American point of view. So who am I to say? It's only American. It's only American talk. Anyway, last factoid here is that it was the first South Korean film to reach over 10 million audience members in theaters. There must be a lot more to do in South Korea than watching movies, or perhaps they just haven't had any quality films come out in a while. That's a weird thing to say. Whatever, but thanks for the factoids, tvovermind.com. Also, an animated prequel. I think the film that was made, the prequel was animated. I didn't mention it earlier. And it was called Seoul Station, as in the city. Seoul. Not S-O-U-L, but S-E-O-U-L.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Yeah, it was also directed by Yeon and was released less than a month later. Peninsula, a standalone sequel set 4 years after Train to Busan, and also directed by Yeon, was released in South Korea in 2020. It was in July and had mixed reviews. But I'll check it out. And then a remake in 2016, Gaumont acquired the rights for the English language remake for the film Next Entertainment World. In 2021, New Line Cinema, Atomic Monster, and Coin Operated were announced to be co-producing partners for the remake, with Warner Brothers Pictures distributing worldwide. Indonesian director you know what? Sorry, I'm not going to read the rest of this. I just have people watch this film. Why do you remake it? Yeah, I mean, like it was only not even 5 years ago. What? Just because there's subtitles? Like just read, people. Like Americans, you don't need white people speaking English for this movie. I mean, just freaking watch the South Korean film. Broaden your horizons.
Don't even
Americans.
turn the captions on. Just watch it without the captions and just be entertained.
Yeah, exactly. Like broaden your horizons, Americans. Quit just limiting yourself. Watch international cinema. It's good for you. Anyway, a remake does not need to be made. Just like, why did they remake Old Boy? You know, it's like, why? It's perfect. Like, no.
Because Spike Lee is a man who wants to broaden his horizons by just making movies.
Well, he should have just told everybody, go watch the original Old Boy. I love Spike Lee. I love his work. But it's like, dude, no. Just if you love that movie, tell people to go watch the original South Korean film called Old Boy. Anyway, I'm done griping.
Well, now he can tell people to watch The Five Bloods and we'll be just as happy.
Oh, Five Bloods is fantastic. Go watch The Five Bloods. Go watch The Five Bloods and just go watch the original Old Boy, you know? Anyway, with that, do you have any factoids or anything else to say about the film before we move on to our slurps up, slurps down section?
I already mentioned my factoid. Why the hell is a cell phone the size of the daughter's head?
Again. That is what's wrong with the world. That's what's wrong, is that these cell phones
birthing children
huge
with heads the size of cell phones.
Way too big, these phones for these kids. Get them in a little bitty phone like in Zoolander, the little tiny like hello and like flip phone. Hello, God, is that you? Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to our slurps up, slurps down section. If you're new to us, folks, this is a time of the show where we give it a slurps up or a slurps down. Slurps up means we recommend the show and we like it, and slurps down means the opposite. We don't recommend it and we don't like it. And sometimes we give a little shades of gray in between. Depends if we haven't said it already. So with that said, Adam, would you like to give us your final verdict?
Listen, there's no doubt in my mind with this one, and I cannot let the zombies down on my train to Busan. This movie is thrilling front to back, horror all the way. You will be scared when you watch this movie if you get scared by horror films. And if you don't get scared by horror films, you will be scared from this movie. I didn't think I get scared when I watch horror movies. I thought that I had the stamina of someone who could watch a movie and not be scared from jump scares and things like that. And here I watched this movie in the morning time and I still was jumping as I watched this movie. So seriously, don't doubt yourself, because this movie will probably frighten you. With that being said, I would like to say I thought this movie was very well done in many different ways, with the, as we said, the cinematography and the music and just everything. Just go back and listen to what we said. I can't even rephrase everything that we already said. It's a fantastic film. It's wonderful. And yes, the daughter's head is the size of a cell phone. Check this movie out. It's wonderful. It's frightening. And I give it a slurps up.
I misunderstood you. I don't know why I thought you said that the phone was too big for the daughter's head, but you're saying the daughter had a big head?
I'm saying the daughter's head is quite literally the size of a cell phone.
Oh, okay. So she needs a bigger phone. No, she needs a smaller phone. I don't know. Why does she have a phone? She's 9.
What is so hard about this?
Why does she have a cell phone?
The phone is literally the size of her head.
She's a cell phone? Anyway, moving on.
Bro.
The daughter, the girl was a cell phone? Whoa.
What is this, like Bill and Ted?
Dude. Yes, always Bill and Ted.
Dude, like, the phone was up to her head and, like, she was talking on it and, like, audio went in her head.
Excellent. So my final verdict pretty much stated that I loved this film. It was fantastic, had a really well performed, well written, emotional core to it. It was frightening. A lot of things that happened that were unexpected happened for me that I didn't see coming. I'm not a big horror buff. I'm not even a really big zombie person either, a zombie fan, a zombie movie fan, or zombie movie TV show fan. But this was great. This was fantastic. This had the rules to the game, quotes, were really well constructed, and it was very interesting to watch this thrilling story happen on this train, and the goal of survival, the goal to push forward, the goal to keep going, keep running, keep getting to Busan, the safety place, Busan, which is, I've heard, and I could be wrong about this, folks, South Korean audiences, please let us know if we're wrong about this, but I've been told I have some acquaintances that teach English in Busan, and they say that it is the Chicago of South Korea. I could be wrong about that. Please correct me. I mean, it's a good thing because I like Chicago. We live in Chicago. So, but if it is not, please call us out on that. Call me out. Adam doesn't deserve it, but I do if I'm wrong. Anyway, I give this film a slurps up. Way in high in the sky. Go watch Train to Busan. It is free on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you don't have to pay extra to rent it. It's free. Go watch Train to Busan. It is fantastic. You will not regret it. Don't watch it with little kids. Watch it with other adults if you watch it with other people. It is scary. It is scary, but it's great. It is so good.
I hope we don't ever enter a world that's like Train to Busan where everyone's turning into zombies. I know I made the COVID-19 virus comment in the beginning of our episode, but yeah, honestly, what if things were like that? What if we are turning into zombies?
I don't know, man. I mean,
yikes.
I hope not.
Scoob.
Ooh, hope not. Anyway, that's our review of Train to Busan. Everybody, thanks for listening. Now it's time where me and Adam talk just a little bit about stuff that we do off to the side of Screen Slurps. We love each other like brothers, but sometimes we do stuff that's separate too, and we still do Screen Slurps. So with that said, I will go ahead and do a quick plug for myself. I have a Dungeons and Dragons actual play show coming out soon. if those of you don't know, an actual play means a show where people play Dungeons and Dragons live and or recorded on video on YouTube, Twitch. This is mainly going to be on Twitch. The show is called Journey Punks. That's 2 words, Journey. Second word, Punks. Journey Punks. It's going to be on Twitch. It's launching at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on March 23rd, 2021. And yeah, it's going to be on Twitch. The URL is twitch.tv/journeypunks. That's twitch.tv/JOURNEYPUNKS. It's going to be set in the magic tech world of Eberron. Very cool. Very excited. Anyway, Adam, what would you like to solo plug, my friend?
You can catch me on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Adam Meisner. I am also streaming on Twitch at /A Meisner, and I put up music online. I put up original and cover songs. You can just send me what you want to hear, and I'll record it. I will put it up there. Let me know what you want to hear.
Could you do an a cappella version of Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force?
That's a little bit tough. That's
Can you?
Unless I tried to do a jazzy version of it or a stripped down version or something. I don't know if I could do like a literal cover of the real one, but I can try and do like a stripped version.
Could you just like hum the guitar sounds like in Guitar Hero? First verse. That's all I'm asking for. First verse.
I don't know if I can remember how the guitar goes in the first verse.
Well, here's the lyrics. Let's see here.
On a cold winter morning,
Yeah.
in the time before the light, in flames of death's eternal rain, we ride towards the fight.
When the darkness is falling down and the times are tough, all right. The sound of evil laughter falls around the world tonight.
Fighting hard, fighting on for the steel, through the wastelands evermore.
The skeletal souls feel the hell, bodies wasted on the shores. That wraps up this episode of Screen Slurps, everybody. Thanks for listening. And thanks to Adam for listening to you through Fire and Flames. Please just be sure to like/follow us on social media. We release new episodes every Monday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and just about everywhere you can find podcasts on the internet. And please be sure to follow and subscribe to us on those platforms. And if you like our show, please give us a nice 5-star review in the Apple Podcast app, and please recommend us to everyone in your multiverse. It will help the show grow to new heights. And stay tuned for our upcoming, at the time it's recording, our upcoming Patreon page with special benefits for you all and bonus content. So, closing out, this is Dash Gearhart.
And I'm Adam Meisner.
Give a clap for Mr. Adam for editing every single episode of Screen Slurps, and we'll catch you all later. Slurps up.